Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. So a little video for Sunday. I did not think I would get time to do another Roxy Still Life update, but it's Saturday morning. It's about 9:30. My flight to Ballarat, I've got to head to the airport at 1. So last night I started stitching some basic thread painting over the flowers on my selected piece of fabric to make my ginger jar. Now, if you'd watched the video earlier in the week, I was tossing up between the two, and this guy has been ruled out. It's too small. It's not holding its own in the ginormous piece that I seem to be creating. So I'm going to keep him for a rainy day. Great little project just to pop with some threads with, and a little bit of backing, as in what I've done here, and a hoop, and away you go. So another day, not wasted. Now, let me just back up a little bit. I put my pieces that I had cut out, now taking into account, that's the little lid. There's a seam allowance there. That will get turned under as I needle turn applique this piece into position. Don't even ask me about position. My goodness, this thing is moved all over. I'm not concerned at this stage. I'm just going to make all the elements for the overall piece, and then right at the very end, that's when I will place them. So that takes so much pressure off on trying to pre-plan for things you don't know what's coming with these prompts. So I tacked down with thread onto some calico, which is past the size of my embroidery hoop. So that's now made it very transportable, and it's great because my thumb is resting here on, you know, the fabric, not my actual work. And then I still felt like it was a little bit thin. So I ended up going through the cupboard and I found a scrap of Pellin. Well, I don't even know if it's Pellin. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's just a scrap that I'm slowly whittling through all of my scraps. You can see there how much stitching I've done. Now let's start bringing you up to speed on the stitching. Like, I did not think I'd get this video done. Last night I started with just thread painting the flowers. So let me bring it up, and I've got one flower here to do and a little bit here, and the flowers in the lid of one of the colors. So let me bring that up to the camera, and all of those flowers have been stitched. And I did not change the design of the fabric. I still need to do something there. I just meandered around the fabric. I was watching a movie, didn't really want to have to design anything, so I literally relaxed my mind and meandered, and it was great. So I'm now down here at this corner. So that's where I thought, you know what, I think I can squeeze in a quick Sunday video for you guys. So that's why that's threaded. I will show you what I did stitching wise, what my plans are for the centers of some of these flowers, because I started playing a little bit here. You will not see that detail because it's so dark. Now, in addition, what I did, I might get all of the information out to you, and then I can relax and, you know, do a little bit of stitching, because there's a few more decisions I need to make on this piece. Then I can throw it in a little bag, project bag, and it will go with me to Ballarat. Now, what other decisions did I make? All through this piece are little leaves, and I don't want to bring in a leaf color, so I thought I'll just go to my ribbons and see what's in there. Now, I've ordered lots of ribbons in over the time from not only Jennifer Clouston, who on her website has color stream packs of ribbons. These two, I'm not gonna say where I got them from because I can't quite remember. It could be a Jennifer color, it may be a Ballarat color, it might be a goodness knows where Brisbane color. But the main thing is Color Stream is the best ribbon out there. It is made locally here in Queensland on the Macleay Island, not the ribbon. It is dyed locally on Macleay Island. It's just beautiful to work with. I've got heaps of other ones I've picked up thrifting, but they tend to disintegrate the more I drag them through fabric. These are strong. As long as you use a nice big-eyed crewel needle, nice and thick, you might as well make a decent hole for that ribbon to travel through. It'd be my hot tip if you decide to add some ribbon embroidery to your piece. I kept it simple and just did a simple little stitch. And as the stitch went in, I went through the top of the stitch. I've got a little bit left. So meterage, I thought this was interesting. I had one of them in my hand and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to not have enough. I'm not going to have enough. So I kept rolling through my little container of ribbons, found a second one, said, right, that's a definite. I'm going to silk ribbon embroider, 100% silk, these little leaves throughout the place, and I know I won't run out. Well, 3 meters on one of these. This is a 4mm wide ribbon. I did not need this one. So 3 meters is used here. Isn't that incredible? 3 meters of ribbon has gone into here, and I've been pretty good. I haven't jumped too far because I didn't want to waste anything. That's my last little bit. So I thought, well, we will find a spot for that little guy to go, which will sort of show you the stitch. I might do that first because thread painting over there is not as exciting as this. Where can we put this little guy? It's going to be not on a printed leaf. It's going to be out in the wild by itself. And I sort of think I could probably sneak a little petal here and it won't matter. I just got this little bit left, so why not, I say. So let me zoom in so you can see the stitch I used. So if you've got a piece of fabric that's pre-printed with quite a fine, delicate image like this guy, you really need to step back and start, oh, didn't make a knot. You really need to step back and have a look at your thicknesses of your threads, which will bring me to my next little hot tip. Is that where I was going to put it? Oh, well, it is now. It's the tiniest piece of ribbon. Like, I'm being miserly, but, you know, this is just so precious, these threads. There's my little thread, my little ribbon coming up. I just poof it out a little bit by dragging that needle back to where it came up and then piercing the fabric. Can you see that? That's it. It's probably got a fancy name, but I can't remember. Someone will let us know in the comments and then just let her sit into position. I've left my ribbons reasonably puffy and loopy. I wonder if I could get another one. Can I? Oh, it'd be nice if I could. So I'm going to come back up because I want that little raised look. So don't pull your ribbon too hard, as Jennifer, I think the word she used when I was lucky enough to do 2 classes with her, spider fingers, just gently pulling it through. Don't rip it through, because what will happen is you'll completely change the, see that's coming down. It's probably not the best colour to demonstrate in. There we go. Two little leaves or buds, or, and then I'm just going to slide that through that wadding. Another benefit of putting just that little bit of wadding in, it gives you spots to bury threads in. Calico is harder to bury your threads in. So there you go. 3 meters of ribbon used on just that little piece. So I guess if you're looking at purchasing some ribbons for your collection, while I yibba yabba, I might just do a little bit of thread painting over here. 3 meters of ribbon doesn't go far. So yeah, if you're looking for some colors in the greens and maybe some classic flower colors, see if you can stretch the budget to 2. It does go a fair way, but yeah, just keep in mind 3 meters is not much. So with the threads I use for the flowers, I started out by just matching what was printed on the fabric, which led me to DMC 930, That's an old girl, probably has a new name. And then this is a new one, 931. So you can see that in the DMC world, they're very tonal together and they just worked beautifully. When I first sat down, I was going to do number 8 DMC crochet cotton. I got a lot of these tones. Hello, Fudgy. You're going to miss Mum while you're away, aren't you? I hope Dad looks after you. There's just so many things to remember when dealing with the fudge and his care. Okay? Of course he will. You'll be right. You'll soon tell him, won't you? What was I saying? Number 8 DMC, lots of colours, but it's just too thick. So then I dropped down to 12, which is finer, and I just didn't have the colours. So mental note, if I'm somewhere and I see a massive range of DMC or crochet cotton number 12, I could certainly build my colours up a little bit, but I don't think I need to be honest, because I have all of these DMC threads left from my cross-stitching days. So, yeah, they're pretty good. I ended up splitting the 6 strands into 3, which is sort of nearly a 12 in a crochet cotton thickness, and away I went. That chewed up a lot of that thread, so I definitely need to add that to my shopping list if I'm out and about. I could do with a restock. I did pick up this one out of the collection. I'm not sure if I need it yet, but it's in the family of blues, but he hasn't found a home. There are stems on my piece. I'm in 2 minds of stitching them, because if I stitch them, they'll become quite textured and chunky. If I leave them, they disappear a little, and that allows the thread painting and the ribbon leaves to sort of pop. So I'm sort of the opinion, don't destroy the aesthetics of the piece by getting too chunky, because it's a fine image. Does that make sense? This is going to be great for the still life, because I really want the more you look, the more you see on the piece. So having this thread painted, even though it's so fine and just, you know, delicate, I think it's great. Yeah, I'm really loving it. You can see the texture on the side when I turn the piece to the side. So what I'll do is I'll thread paint this little bit of a flower. That'll get rid of that needle and thread, because there's going to come a point soon that I'll need to just gather all these goodies into a little bag and seal up the suitcase. I'd love to run the vacuum cleaner over before I go. I just too busy stitching and yapping yesterday. Didn't get any housework done. Did get some washing done, which is good. Got the bag packed. I'm in panic packing mode too. It's just hilarious. You know when you know what you're going to take and everything's sorted and it's in the bag. So for my main activity down there, because I've finished my piece, you would have seen that in yesterday's video, I don't need to take all those earthy tones. So I decided that I was going to do the whole Take My Liberty collection and make some Christmas presents and gifts. I got a housewarming gift I'd like to make, and, you know, just liberty, liberty, liberty. And because it's Liberty Land down there in Ballarat, I thought, you know what, if I see a colour in the colour spectrum, you know, I can pick up some extra liberty. And one colour that I'm very lacking, because I've been buying for myself with a quilt in mind, let's just get that out of the head. We're not going to be doing a quilt. We're going to use those liberties. Otherwise, those liberties will sit and sit while I think, one day I'll make a quilt. No, we're going to chop into those liberties and we're going to disperse them, yes, Fudgy, into my world, and they can then be used. And I think by adding a few into my Just Because quilt has just said, you know what, stop hoarding it, just use it. Fudgy. So, yeah, I want to make something in the way of a vessel, most likely my rice bag inspired caddy for my friend who is moving into her new house and retiring in June from teaching, and has a little craft nook. and will most likely be here regularly. So Marianne will feature in, I'm sure, lots of videos in the future. I'm so pleased that she's on her way, and Kev, hubby, is Gaz's best mate. So it's going to be great to have them across the lake. They get the key to their front door of their brand new home in 2 weeks' time. So super, super excited. Well, I'd like to make her something for her craft nook that's useful. So either maybe a bowl, like Sarah has been showing us a revisit to the fabric bowls that we made during, oh gosh, I was too long ago. What was that? Volume, whatever. Gosh, we've made some stuff with the Roxy girls, haven't we? Let's concentrate on stitching. So I'm thinking maybe some little bowls. And the caddy is on top of mine. Now, the thing is, Marianne is very pastel. So pinks, blues, and that green, real soft colours. And because I had Corrine's going to make a quilt in my head, I've been buying these tones with a pop of pink and red. I sort of envisioned a quilt one day of that. I probably need to work on that. So what I plan to do when I get to Ballarat, ladies, heads up, what I plan to do is lay out all of the liberties, because I've got reasonable size pieces where I've gone, I love you, I need the minimum cut that a store will give me, about 20 centimetres, 30 centimetres, and others that are little, like I picked up some gorgeous liberties at Beck's store, some Betsy's, and they're, I don't know what size Beck you cut those in, but anyway, they're rolled up little morsels. They've been unravelled. I've also been on Etsy and found some sellers that put together little morsels, and you get, 10 different colours, which is a lovely way to build up your colour palette but not invest too much in ones that you may not use a lot of. So, yeah, I'm going to tidy my liberties, and then during the week we'll be going to outlets that sell liberties. Balan has Rosemill Cottage, and down the road from where we sit and do our stitching is Gail's Patchwork Emporium. Susanna tells me that Gail was pre-cutting some packs of liberties for a project in a box or something, or a small container, and that was happening yesterday. And I was like, oh my gosh, what if I miss out? What if I like it and I miss out? I went into FOMO, and we were cacking ourselves laughing because Susanna said, well, I know where they are in the shop, so I'll push past everyone and I'll throw myself and grab one of those for you and go, there you go, Corrine, I got your lip. We were hilarious. So I then added to the story and said, as the ladies are leaving the venue and getting into their cars, Susanna and Corrine are in Susanna's car, and you hear the screeching of wheels as they scoot around the corner here and down the corner. The ladies will be meandering out to take their seats in the cars as we all head down to Gail's, and they're going to say, where's Corrine and Susanna? They've gone screeching down the road to make sure that they don't miss out on this mystery liberty pack that Gail's putting together that I have no idea what even looks like, but it was hilarious. So I then pictured Susanna and I running across the car park at Gail's, barely parking the car. The doors are open on the car. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's just silly. We get silly when we get together. It's crazy. So, yeah, I apologise in advance, ladies coming to retreat, that Corrine and Susanna have very poor behaviour when it comes to checking out whatever this liberty pack is that Gail is snipping together for, her customers. So, yeah. But anyway, one needs to sort her liberties to make sure she doesn't rebuy similar liberties. And then, yeah, I'm going to immerse myself in stitching useful items for some Christmas gifts. I figured, why not get started? Because you can guarantee something will happen at the end of the year and I'll just be too busy. So I'm just going to do it. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, in amongst my packing, this is where I'm heading with my story, the actual story. You know, when you panic pack to go somewhere with projects, this is what happened. So in amongst Susanna and I chatting this morning, like literally we're going to see each other in hours, but we're already yapping. And she even sent me a message and said, stop talking to me, I have jobs to do. I'm like, all right, no worries, I'll leave you be. I was also yapping to Dawn, and Dawn's like, oh, I've got to start packing for the trip. So Dawn and her best mate, Willie, who's just adorable, are arriving Sunday afternoon. So I said to Dawn, you know, you better, you know, pack everything you need, yada, 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 you know, general. And I said, you know what, hot tip, if you go to Bunnings, apparently, someone told me this, a neighbour. He said, if you go to Bunnings and you buy a piece of timber, it could be 40 centimetres, you can then go to the counter, like this is shocking, and hire their trailer for free to take said piece of timber home. But then you just leave the timber on the shelf and take the trailer for free, and you've got a free trailer for the day. Isn't that terrible? Yeah, anyway, not good. A little bit. So I said to Dawn, if she went to Bunnings, she could buy a piece of timber, leave the timber on the shelf, and then use that trailer, because she's a Victorian girl. And Willie and Dawn could use a Bunnings trailer with their craft supplies to come to the retreat. Isn't that a genius idea? So yeah, so I then left Dawn in peace, because she's obviously trying to organise her home as well to get on the road. So yeah, then I started thinking, well, what if I get sick of Liberty? I'm really cruising on this. This won't take too much more to finish, unless what I've got sitting over here turns into a major workload, which I bet it does. Maybe I'll need another project. So all night, Fudgy, you're still here. All night I've been thinking about Rachel's fabrics that I showed you on yesterday. Pussy. Where I'm thinking of using them to make Easter bunting. If you haven't seen that video, check that one out too. So I thought, you know what? I threw them in the suitcase because I thought the girls at the retreat might want to have a closer inspection. So they're in the bottom of my suitcase with no plans of doing anything on them. So this morning I'm sitting here going, gee, this is coming together fast. What if I run out of things to do? What if I get sick of playing with Liberty? Hey, Fudgy, because Mum's very flighty. Maybe I should pack another project. So what I did, when I was looking for this morning, this happened. This little bag for another project. I'm not at the stage at hiring a trailer from Bunnings, but I've now got another project on board. Pussycat. Let me just pat the cat. Okay, take a moment. Hey, Fudge. Just a quick little pat. So I'm going to show you what I've put in that little bag too. I'll show you now, because this is getting... Oh no, finish what you're doing, for goodness sakes. While I've got your attention too, I must thank you all for your kind comments yesterday. Yesterday's video, oh my goodness, a little bit of grief popped up and smacked me on the back of the head as I was hypothesising a future project using Rachel's fabrics, Easter bunting. So I really appreciate all your comments. Like, we're all on the same boat. When you read some of the comments, it's like, wow, you know, we all walk this road. So thank you for the big virtual hug you sent me. Muchly appreciated. Really, really appreciated. So what else did I want to say? I think that's it in the way of stitching. But I will have two ideas sitting here that I do want to go through with you. But let's just finish this thread. And then I'll show you what's in my possible flag bunting Easter project. The fabrics themselves are in the bottom of my suitcase, so I have not looked at what colours actually suit. So it's very possible that what I've selected aren't going to work. So it's really poor planning, to be honest. Fudge. So you pat the cat and he settles. Really poor planning, but I'm okay with that because I love the colours, and if I think of Easter, they're the colours I just love. So I'm happy to sort of work them into the pieces, and I'm pretty sure they'll work anyway. I must say, when I do look at some of the colours, I'm like, oh, that's something Rachel would be attracted to. So I'd be pretty confident that it will appear in the project. That, if you've watched the video, I was wondering about, you know, that trim or lace on the side that was very pink. That's in the back of my head, that sort of tones. So they're sort of the colours that I selected. So there you go. A little bit to go. Oh, I just looked and there's even more to go. All right, put it away. That's boring. I want to show you what I grabbed. Let me zoom up. Now, I didn't have a pouch that suited. Well, there's another project. But I had this cosmetic bag that I've had for ages, and it's just been in the cupboard, and I gave it a good clean a month or so ago, and I thought, you know what? It's a great design and it will be handy. So I grabbed that out. Now let me unzip it. I must remember to pack the crewel needle, and I'm actually going to put it there. It'll slide in to my needle book when I get to my suitcase. That'll remind me, and at least it's with, because there's ribbon in here. I only packed a needle to take cotton and a needle to take number 8 DMC, you know, this to do some stitching. So I would have been missing a crewel needle. All right, look at that. Can you hear the music play? So what I did is I did panic grabbing and I got a mix of bits and pieces that potentially is Easter. I had sitting next to me my container of threads that had the blues and pinks and purples in it due to that vase. Like, that to me is a bit of a Rachel colour, so I would guess that that probably appears somewhere. Then I punched it up a little bit with a bit of classic Easter. Haven't I gone off the track? This is some sock yarn that has been sitting in my cupboard and I really want to dip into it. Who did I get that from? Little Woolly Makes, I think, guys. Maybe not. There's nothing there that tells me easily. And I really want to have a play, because when I was with the girls in Green Door Studio and Fleur Woods, they play a lot with thicker yarns and textures. So I grabbed a mitt full of those. Fudgy wants up. All right, come on. Here we go, Fudge. Little cuddle with Mum. Walking through, coming through. There we go. Hey, Fudgy. Now he needs a chair to one side to get down, if he so chooses. So doesn't that scream Easter? These were in the kits with Rachel and Sarah's workshop. What else did I grab? These are just some randoms that were sitting nearby. I saw that. I've got that sitting out on a bench thinking, well, I haven't used it. What can I do with it? And I thought, you know what? Texture, Easter, maybe. Like I said, I haven't looked at those pages, so I might be way off on my colour scheme. But yeah. Then, look, I'll come to those. That's the ribbons I chose. So a little bit of warm tones in case there's a page that's warm, a little bit of brights, a pop of blue. There was some scrappy bits in there, so I thought perfect for those turquoisey elements, a bit of that orange and pink coming together, and a few greens. A couple more threads here as well. None of them are DMC, so a little bit more thickness in those cottons. So that's what I've got. Now let me show you what I'm just fiddling here. Look at that for colour palette for Easter. Yeah, happy with that. Now these threads I got, oh my gosh, a little while back from Jennifer Clouston. She loves this brand of Chameleon threads, and she put together some packs. And I haven't had a chance to really have a play, but I did pull out a blue for the flowers in Still Life. That was just perfect. And these are beautiful. So pearl number 8, so they're right in the thickness for me. Some unusual colours here and variegation, which is great for flowers. Takes a lot of hard work out. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to throw them in. I thought the girls might like to have a close inspection of Chameleon threads. I believe they come from South Africa. That's a thought that popped into my mind when I've been watching, hand-dyed Chameleon threads in South Africa. So that was one pack. And the second pack that Jennifer had put together, there's her card too. But I'm sure you all know Jennifer. She's got the books and a channel so you can watch her little snippet videos. This is the other pack. Is that not just gorgeous? The other thing too, if I do, which I will, some decorative stitching on the caddies and any bowls or whatever I make out of Liberty for my mate Marianne that's pastel, bingo. I've got the colours. Like, she wears these colours. Probably not that pink, but definitely those. So I thought, you know what, might as well pack that. I'm going to need to go to Bunnings, get some timber. Dawn, I bet you're already at Bunnings getting timber. So there you go. That's what happened this morning. Literally a couple hours before heading to the airport, I panic project pack. Panic project pack, 3 Ps, the triple Ps. I got the triple Ps. Considering I got white coat syndrome, I might as well have the triple P syndrome. Panic project pack. There you go. There you go, Kate in the nest. Panic project pack. We've got a new syndrome. So that is all in my little bag for a potential start. And I figured this is how I justify the project and not having it with you guys. I might protect those threads with a little bit of plastic and just so I don't catch it in the zipper. I can do a little bit of stitching, and then when it comes to planning my actual bunting and cut, oh my goodness, this has just gone into a whole nother level of difficulty. The sticky tape, got to get rid of the sticky tape. Don't want that on my precious threads. When I plan my bunting size, shape, whatever, I'll have some of it with a little bit of thread painting, stitching done. So I figured that's how I justify my PPP. Is that enough P's? So there you go. Project in a bag. Fabrics in there. So yeah, there we go. Now, this project, Focus Girl. What I've got here is beads. I'm missing the thread. Did I just pack it? Oh my goodness, guys. Hang on a moment. I just got to reverse the trailer back up to the table and pull out the thread that doesn't belong with my panic packing. Gaz just walked to the room and looked at me and just was like, what are you talking about? Don't worry, Gaz. It's a new affliction I apparently have. First of all, seed stitch. My vase is a little puffy. Now I could invisible stitch it down. That'd be quick. Just lots of little stitches. But before I not do that, I want to commit to this. And I found this old vintage one. Colours complement. It's a fresher white than, say, this one. And I'm thinking of doing some seed stitch. I'd like to say I will, where's that needle? I'd like to say I do just smatterings of it, but I never can because I get into that relaxed, mindful state that slow stitch gives you and zone out. And suddenly I'm going to seed stitch this whole thing. As you know, I've got form in that department. It's probably one of my favourite stitches. Nice and simple, don't have to think. That's the essence of my slow stitch version, is that getting into that rhythmic movement of whatever piece I'm doing, whatever has come to that point of sitting and relaxing and stitching. This is, I can't even thread the needle, so my relaxed state is leaving me. Let's find this quill needle again. Little guy there. Yes, he'll make it into my needle book at my suitcase. Yeah, seed stitch is my jam, as Fleur Woods would say. Now this is going to be a bit of an effort to punch holes in it. So I'll bring it up to the camera. No, I won't. I'll zoom in. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, seed stitch, it's itty bitty stitches, all in different directions, that create texture. A lot of work, but so worth it. It will anchor the back of my fabric. Now I've unthreaded. It's because I haven't got the right needle. That eye is too big. So therefore, the thread just slides straight out. So if that's happening to you, you've probably got the wrong needle in your hand. Ideally, you want the size of needle to match the thread you're using, because then the hole it makes allows that thread or ribbon to pass through your work without being damaged on the way. So yeah, that's the rough rule. So let's just do a few little stitches, and mine are like micro stitches. Oh yeah, guys, I have to do it. The more you look, the more you see. That's the rule for the piece. Yeah. So if your vase has got areas that still feel a little puffy, maybe consider a bit of seed stitch. I need to change my needle to a milliner's needle so I get a point. Can you hear that popping sound in the fabric? I'm working too hard. You will start to get pain in your fingers. That's going to happen. That'll be really good for when I'm sitting at the airport waiting for flights and buses and things, because all I need is just one thread. So that is really good. All right, so this is going to be my travelling airport project, which is good because I've got a little needle book I made when I went to Green Door that has that clover metal cutter. You know, it's circular, and I stitched it to the needle book. That way I don't get scissors confiscated when I go through security. So I might grab that when I get to the suitcase and pop this project and that together. I'll throw in this thread. Now this thread is my little French knot thread that will go in amongst all these little flowers. So that's a definite. Now let's talk beads, and then I probably will leave you in peace because I can't believe I've done 40 minutes. So beads, I feel like I could disperse some little beads in this. I probably won't take these with me because, you know, I don't need beads rolling all over the airport floor, but I will do them when I get home. Let me grab some cotton. and a bead needle, which is not handy. Snail might have a bead needle in it. No. Okay, guys. I might just pause and find myself a bead needle, and then we'll decide whether that happens, and that was pretty much us all caught up. So I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I'm back. So let's just grab a little bit of cotton. You can use beading thread. I do have one that I've got somewhere in my travels, but I don't tend to use a lot of it. I just use cotton. If I'm worried that they might be like on a bag or something and get a bit roughed up by use, I might use 2 strands, just so that it's a little bit thicker. I need that needle and that needle to travel with me. Now I need a bead needle, which I think I did say I packed. Actually, I'm not taking beads, so enough. Let's have a look at this. Are we zoomed in enough? Let's see if we can get tighter. So what I thought is to bring a bit of shimmer to this piece, because the flowers have shimmer. I could maybe put 3 little beads next to each other. That bead's all discoloured. He's missing the coating. So this is like what I call my calico coloured bead. If I do 3 little beads on the stem, like little berries, I don't want to do anything around the flowers because I think there's enough going on there and you wouldn't see it. So maybe 3 little, you guys can't even see that, like that's pretty ordinary. There's a pearly one, which might be too much. These seem bigger. Are they bigger? I reckon they are. I think they're too much. Then I've got a real dark bone china sort of colour, which I don't mind as well. These I will apply when I get home. You know what, I don't even mind all 3. These are 9mm. The pearls don't have anything written on them, and I suspect, they could be 9. I think they're just more rounded versus the others. That's why they feel, that doesn't feel like it's fitting. Maybe they are. I don't know. Goodness sakes. Oh, I can see the copper ones to my side. Oh, I'd love to put them on, but no, it's a ginger jar. Keep in the colour palette. So let me bring this right up to the screen. So we've got the calico coloured ones. We've got the, let's call this light calico, dark calico, pearl, and these have the shine. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Like I said, I'll do these when I get home. I guess too, let's go to where that seed stitch is, because remember now, there's going to be seed stitch all over it, and these beads will actually be nestled on the seed stitch. Will that change our thoughts? Possibly. I'm overthinking this. Just stitch them on and move on. Look, there's the 3 colours in amongst those seed stitches. Let me bring it up. Dark calico, light calico, and pearl. I think it needs to be light calico. And you know, that was my instinct when I walked to the table. Love to know what you guys think. I'm going to put them back now, because like 3 beads are precious when you're probably holding a container of 10,000. But They are. So in you go. So that's the pearly ones. That's the dark. And do not tip that, you have not got the lid on it. And this is the light calico. I'm thinking the light, guys. If you think they need to be more of a contrast, let me know. So that'll give me a bit of feedback, and we'll leave these on my desk for when I get back, because we're not going via Bunnings. All right, that's the three colours. You can see there's a distinct difference between those two, isn't there? All right, enough yibby yabbering. All right, let me zoom back up. I have to take you, and maybe replace if I see you in my travels. I don't need that needle because I have one packed already. And you maybe, but probably won't use, but at least you're there. I will put that needle in that work because everything's together. Do not take scissors, they will get confiscated. Find the needle book that has the clover thread cutter, and that's going in with my hand luggage. Everything else in the boot of the plane. All right, guys, I think that's it. I will see you all round. Have a great week. I'm sure I'll post something through the week of the retreat and annoy yous. So, yeah, happy stitching. Have a great weekend. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. I'm back. I was just taking those things to my suitcase, and I thought I'll show you the needlebook I was talking about that I created traveling to Green Door for that retreat with the Roxy girls. And my brief to myself was to make this airport friendly. So carries enough, it's not too big. Hand luggage, it's not sprawling on a seat at the airport because it's too big, and it can cut threads without having potentially scissors. So now I won't stuff up and get to security and lose another pair of scissors. I've lost 2 of them. I've lost at least one of those, not that style, but one of them, because I just forget. I get in a grab and go mode, and I wanted to know I had a needlebook that was just a travel needlebook. So this little guy will go to America with me because I know it's cool. Now, I went to a shop on the way to my journey to the retreat in Sydney that was the Cruel Goblin, and she sold little packs of vintage French fabrics, which is my passion. I wish I could get my hands on more vintage French fabrics, but I'm in Australia, so that's not going to happen. So when I saw her little packs, I grabbed a couple and decided I would make a little needlebook. It was upside down. A little needlebook on the fly with that brief. This is that needlebook. Now, at the sewing layer, I picked up some big pearl buttons. So that's how that came to be. I had taken some morsels from home in case I wanted to include them in my piece. The wreath was vintage as well, because that's what was supplied to us from the girls, the Roxy girls. So I sort of took a few elements. This particular piece came with a pack of fabric I bought years ago from Rachel. So that's been hanging around trying to find a home. So that's how that piece turned up there. And then I went to Newcastle to visit Beck's store, So Be Curated. So there may even be an influence in there. What is missing from this still, as it is unfinished? Yes, I've constructed it, but what it's missing is the decorative stitching. So it's another project, another day in another airport where I just stitch into it. I purely constructed it. So let's show you what I'm talking about. A little binding that I got from the Cruel Goblin. And then this is the cutter that I was talking about. It is a clover cutter with little blades hidden in the side of that heart. So if you Google clover heart cutter, thread cutter, I've had this for years on a chain. I had a broken Belcher bracelet of my mum's and I attached it to that, but I couldn't get the Belcher chain through there and I had just a silver split ring. It was just a quick makeshift, but at least it was with me in my bag when I travelled and it just looked like a bracelet. I guess I was a bit paranoid that it still had the blade, but I've since removed all that and actually stitched it to my needlebook. So now she is my little go-to traveller. So when it lays out flat on my seat next to me, whether it's on a plane or on a, you know, at the airport, it sits beautifully flat. I've got felt at the very front because I didn't want to be flipping through to find needles and pins. They're there. You're busy stitching. You're now late for your plane. Boom, in goes your needle. It's safe. I added random morsels that were in those packs that I bought. I have a little pocket here that can hold scissors if I choose to, because this is a magnet needle holder and I got that, I think, in Ballarat. They're popping up everywhere. I may even have got it from the Howard girls, the Howard drapery. Because that's magnet, it holds my threads like that. So now if I have to grab and run, at least that's safe. It also helped hold my scissors. I did a turned over edge here so that the handle of the scissors tucks in there. So not only is it caught there, the magnet holds them. It has added a lot of weight to the front, but I'm not too worried about that. If I take scissors, you know, let's say I'm in a caravan or on a road trip, I'd do that. If not, I've got a pocket, and that was just a little remnant of old quilt that was in those packs. I'll go through that in a moment. This was a sleeve to a blouse that was in one of those packs. So they cut here and this was the sleeve. I squished it all in, stitched it, and then attached it. I then put a little stitch here so it didn't flop outside the bag because it was like swinging out here and swinging down here. So there's a little securing stitch there, plus it's gathered and hidden in the folds, which I so desperately tried to get in a more obvious spot. I believe was a repair or a patch. Or am I just remembering something that's not right? Doesn't matter. I'm sure there was something really cool and I just couldn't showcase it due to the design. This was a thread that I had on another bag that wrapped my closure. I trimmed it in the one hotel room a little bit and that gave me the ability to gather. So this little binding, I just snuck in there with a little hole there, wound it through. So now I can potentially put those threads that we were just using, I'll put in there. This piece of fabric went with a folded edge into here, so pocket, stitched and stitched underneath and up to this side, and that became my feature. And see the little birds? So there's the top edge. It went straight to the bottom, folded under, folded back on itself. So now I have a folded edge because there's nothing worse than sliding things into a pocket and things get caught, and then just stitched it down to secure it. This pocket, I don't know why I got that felt in there, doesn't matter. Let's just leave it in there for now. I always, in my needle books, love to add a little organza bag. You never know when you might have some buttons or some thread winders or some vintage labels. And I attach it with a garment pin or bulb pin. You can buy these on line, type in garment pin, bulb pin, and you can get, 100 of them for very little money. So shop around, you can get yourself a garment pin. That pin could hold beads. If I had a few little feature beads I wanted to put on a project, I could pop them there. I can remove it, lift it up if I need this pocket for something else, and this can then just free hang. You could stitch it but I like the fact that I've got a garment pin there that gives me possibilities. So that can just draw close and that slides into there. So a good needle book, I reckon, there's my theory, you need a little bag to hold your morsels bag. You need another little bag to hold bigger morsels, threads, and then you've got your gorgeous little needle book in the center here for whatever. And really it was just memories of the trip because there were really cool little bits and bobs, you know, in those packs. So for example, there was the little buttons. This is Sue Spargo felt. I had it with me. That's the only reason it went, and I grabbed it because, you know, packing the trailer from Bunnings, this colour tone matched all my French stuff, and it was a Christmas project we were doing, and I figured this colour would pop up on Rachel's and Sarah's project. So I threw in a bit of Sue Spargo, so that's how that came to be with me. These buttons the girls had put together from Cruel Goblin in the packs, a little bit of lace. That's an offcut of that fabric that's here, slightly different colour tone. Little birdie became, again, another little tuck spot. This one I didn't edge, but there'd be no reason that you couldn't come back and, you know, do that. But I didn't bother. And that was a thread, I don't even know where that come from. This was a gorgeous little doily that I have had kicking around for a while, and it's so fine. And I haven't found a project for it because it's nearly too delicate for what I do. And I thought, before you get lost, you need a home. So it had gone in the pack for the workshop. And once again, it would never have worked because it's so fine, and my workshop piece, the big wreath, was quite chunky. So she has a home. I didn't want to cut it, so I just turned up that edge and in she goes, just because. That's the little needle threader that the girls gave us in our kit. So that's just found a home here. I've pinned it for now, but it could easily be stitched in. So now I've got something with me that can thread wool into Cruel needles. A little bit of tatting that got stitched there as a tab. Little piece of lace. This little doily is in here because I want to add it. So I'll get back to that in a moment. This little piece of trim, another little piece of fabric, and a little bit of lace to finish off the Sue Spargo wool. And you'll notice that where's a ruler? When I do my needle books, I tend to concertina. That's not even the right word, guys. What's the word? Terrace? There's a good word, but it's not terracing. Where's my ruler? Hang on. Gosh, this video is going to be so long. Don't tell me I've packed the ruler. I do not need a ruler. I probably have. No, here it is. The Sue Spargo felt started out 17 centimetres or 6.5 inches and is 4 1/4 inches tall, or for the Aussie girls, 11 centimetres tall. That's my base piece, and then everything else falls in beneath that. So as I created them in my hand, I made sure that the next piece or the next page was bigger than this one, but that in turn pulled it in. Where is it go? It is this one. Oh, see, it was a two-tone fabric. Look, that was one side, that's the other, and the seam hides where the fabric changes colours. Oh, it's just gorgeous. So this piece then inadvertently gets a little bit bigger. Does that make sense? So what it does is it gives you the waterfall effect on your needle books. I just think that is just, that there saves you making a cluster on the edge of your needle book. So you've got to think about thickness. So if that got too thick, you've got a really chunky needle book. So I love doing the waterfall edge. Gives me texture without trying too hard. I've only got the Sue Spargo, one piece of interesting fabric, and this guy. Now, this came somewhere. It is not old, but I don't know, I really like it. And I thought it might look really cool stitched with red stitching, and it's nearly a little slow stitch meander around potential projects. So I have her folded up, and I thought I might stitch her in there to, you know, be a future project one day. So that's why she is here. I should probably pop a pin in her, because if I'm fiddling around at the airport, there's potential she could get dropped and I won't realise, because now I'm running late for the plane. So once again, I will waterfall her like that. Just makes it a little bit more interesting, and just run a simple running stitch down there. And then, you know, there's a project in my needlebook waiting for me one day. As you can see, some decorative stitching around this will really just take it to the next level. You know what I should do is find a red that suits this and just leave it in this. So that way, if I get sick of Liberty or vases, I've got, you know, I can embellish. So that's my travelling airport safe needlebook. My original needlebook, I've made heaps for friends and people, you know, over the time, but they're never as elaborate as what I do for myself, because, you know, I panic. This was my original that I made years ago, and it was a collage piece of fabric, running stitched, invisible stitch it down, running stitch it. That gave me my base. And then on the inside, you guys are going to just go, oh my goodness, girl. This literally is the trailer of needlebooks. Once again, there's my little bag. Pockets, some little charms, a thread threader. I've got these bobbins that help me thread lace or elastic through. A few little bits and bobs in there that tucks in. I'd collaged here because I had some little elements that were kicking around. Here's my little needlebook, but let's move over here. This is where scissors can sit in my scrappy heart, and then there's a push pin here that holds it. So if you don't have a magnet style scenario, you can create a little securing device. Let's put it properly. So up in here, I should put this back in here because this needlebook needs scissors and I've pilfered it out. There we go. That's just a scrappy heart. A generous pocket could hold more. This was a gift at one of the retreats and this needlebook was with me, so I've just left that in there. Now, the needlebook itself, felt once again, simple, just one page, decorative stitching, all the needles, like seriously, like talk about needles for everything. I remember when Jennifer saw this, I turned up to her class and she says, now you're going to need a crewel needle, whatever, or, you know, the ones that she's her go-to needles. And I said, yeah, no worries, I've got that. This flips out. She flipped, she goes, oh my gosh, look at this. It was hilarious. She's like, seriously, surely it's there. We flipped through the whole thing and I since added a second needlebook because I was traveling somewhere and felt the need. This little guy. Look at this. And as Jennifer said, you've got the most full-on needlebook I've ever seen, and there's not even the 3 needles that we need for the class in there. So I had to borrow needles. I've since learned a lot since those days, and I can see myself, yeah, overkill. You really only need those 3 needles, something for beads, something for crewel needle, you know, wools, DMC 8s, and a milliner's needle, nice long, same width French knots, all of that. So there you go. This was prototype number 1. And I've done the concertina here, not concertina, waterfall effect here as well. See how you get all those edges? Very cool, with not much work and not much bulk. Pocket at the back, somewhere to hold scissors, and pockets at the front. So there you go. And of course my little organza bag. I love those little bags. They're just brilliant. And secure it. That's it. That's my first needlebook. And that's my revised one. So there you go. All right, I'm going to stop. I've got to go. I'll see you later, guys. Have a great day. Bye.